Alright guys, so I just picked up this 2008 Raptor 350. It's the same thing as the Yamaha Warrior motor-wise, with a little bit different upgrades to include looks. Now it is non-running because it broke off the head of the bolt that holds on the cam gear to the cam. I've never seen that happen before, not on one of these. Not exactly sure why, but there is a new carburetor put on this. And I don't wonder if the whole entire thing didn't lock up on him. So let me pull off that gear and then we'll see about rotating the motor. Alright, so I got the cam gear out. She looks pretty wallered, probably can't reuse it. Looks fine on that side, just not so much that side. Now the guy told me that he was riding it and just, you know, it shut off on him, so on and so forth. And I was like, oh man, that's weird for the cam nut just to break like that. And he definitely did not tell me that he put a new cam in it, because all around, see that white grease around the very top? That's installation lube. So that's a new cam. I wonder if it's a cheap eBay one and they just over torqued that nut. It does look like they either tried to get it out or it comes pre-sliced like that. So I see if I can't get it out, and just got to take off that bearing or the cam retainer bolts and cam retainer right there. All right, so some things have escalated. I'm deciding to tear off the whole entire top end to do an actual inspection. I'm worried about the head of that bolt being somewhere in the motor. Along with, I really don't know if they tore it apart, if they didn't tear it apart. I got some zip tie specials, the Chinese carb that was half-ass installed, choke wasn't even hooked up right. I'm just going to do a very, very thorough inspection. I sell these things to mainly 16, 17, somewhere right in their year-olds. I know they work hard for their money, or at least, you know, I'm assuming that they do. I don't like selling junk that are just going to break on them and then there goes all their money. So I'm going to tear this thing down, look at it, you know, put the $20 top end gasket kit on it if needed. Not that big of a deal. Looks like that throttle clutch cable was fucking cooking on that header anyways. And just do it right. So I'll be doing a teardown now. I'm going to leave it on the bike. You can do that with these. You just pull out the head bolts all the way through the hole. It's actually easier on Warriors because you got a little bit bigger frame difference. But same process. I've already gone ahead. I've taken off the cam gear, taken off the carb, timing chain tensioner. Got to take off the exhaust and then remove anything that's kind of in the way. Stay tuned. Alright, so exhaust is off. It's just two 10mm bolts there. And then you might have to take off the clamp that's on the pipe going out the back. So that's the header, its technical definition. And then that's the exhaust pipe. The slip-on exhaust, whatever you want to call it, that is aftermarket. So now, these two Allen bolts. And then 4 of these, I think they're 16mm. Could be 15. But 4 of those bolts will come out. Then you can take the head off and slide it out this way. Alright guys, we are headless. Looks like it had a little bit of detonation, but nothing bad. A little bit of marking on the piston. No wiggle room, so that's good, and it just went down some. So it's not locked up. Okay, so I know what you're thinking. If you went to go pull your head off, you're using this as an example. You're like, hey, you said you could pull the head off with it still being on the bike. I'm fighting mine. I know. These 2 bolts up here, they'll slide right out. No problems, right? But you're fighting these back 2 ones. I know. Work on getting one of these out. Don't worry about the washer. You can come back to that. Work on getting one of these out. It'll come up right through here. You may have to twist the head, do some finagling, but it does slide out. And then you can easily slide that one up and out. And then pick it up, rotate it, and take it intake side out first. You will twist the timing guide a little bit. So like when you pull it off, it'll be sitting in there a little sideways. Not that big of a deal. Pull it out. Okay. So then that bolt, and that should be it. So that bolt, it's okay to let your timing chain slide down inside, just not when you're going back together. And then another indication that my head was already off of this thing, both of these Allen bolts were loose, finger tight at best. So, all right, and there you go. I'll help you out. It's a 3/16 or like a 5mm Allen head key to get that one bolt out, and then the whole cylinder comes off. Might have to push down on your piston just a little bit and pry up all at the same time. My cylinder looks pretty good. A little bit of carbon deposits up top. Still have some good hash marks and no signs of terrible wear. I do believe I'm the first one actually underneath or to get the cylinder off. That's a stock piston that looked like stock everything else to me as well. Looks like a stock gasket. Typically the aftermarket for the cylinder base are green. Oh, you can't really see on that one, but yeah. So from here, it's just a reverse start. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna reuse this piston. I don't see anything wrong with it. I'm gonna throw some new rings on it and clean up the top. Looks like it was starting to have a little bit of wear from the rings. Other than that, clean up my carbon. And then I also need to pull the cam out of the head due to it being all chewed up. All right, so just kind of reverse order it. Put on your cylinder, put on your head with new gaskets, bolt everything up, and then you should have a running beast. The only thing I really replaced while I'm down to here, you know, take a look at your timing chain guides. This one is bolted inside the stator. Got to pull all that off to get to that bolt to get that one off. I feel it, make sure there's nothing broken, no deep grooves. Other than that, it's good to go. This one will come out. This one it is a little bit chewy. And get it out, and that reminds me, I gotta look for that bolt, head of that bolt in here, or while I have it off. So, okay, you guys don't need to be around for that one. All right, so there you have it. Pistons cleaned up. Cylinder mounting surfaces cleaned up. Heads cleaned up. Cylinders cleaned up. Just got to wait on parts. I'm going to put some rings. Then obviously new gaskets. And then I do still need to pull out, which I forgot just until just now. Still need to pull out this cam. That requires removing the rockers on the inset style cam here. You thread in a bolt there and you pull them out like that, and then that allows you to slide the camshaft out. There's all that installation grease. So yeah, good times. So I was right. Here's the cam out of that Raptor. Appears to be a cheap Chinese one, and they over torqued the bolt. Fired it up. Stress got to the head, snapped off, especially it being a banjo bolt style. I can tell it's a cheap Chinese one. Here's a factory one. It's technically out of a Warrior, but same thing except for the ends. But as you can see, it's not smooth, and then it's stamped with the part number. This one's completely smooth. If it was a Hot Cams or something, it would say Hot Cams. They're pretty proud of their stuff, or Webb, or anyone like that. But Chinese ones, they're going to be completely smooth like that. So for some whatever reason, they decided they needed a new cam in that thing, and they fucked it up, and then they didn't want to put another one in it. I don't blame them. So I'll go ahead and move forward with my plan of just rebuilding the top end, putting a new cam in it. So I was trying to figure out why they wanted to replace the cam, or did replace the cam with a cheap Chinese one. So this is what a rocker should look like. Nice and smooth, no issues. And this is what rides on the cam. So when the lobe comes up, presses the rocker down, opens the valve, right? Well, that's the intake side. See how wavy and junk she is? And I just caught this, or I would have ordered a new rocker. I had another one laying around. from that head actually. So I'll put this one in, but I'm glad I caught that, because with that new cam, it would have dug into it and worn it down as well. I've already honed out my cylinder, looking brand new. Got my gasket kit here. And then from Partzilla, I went ahead and bought all new OE stuff, including cam gear, and then like O-rings, washers, and then the actual bolt, which is the thing that broke off. And then I did go ahead and order a new timing chain guide. That last one was a little chewy, and it was like 15 bucks, so that got me over for free shipping. So I'm gonna go back together. All right, guys, I'm all timed together. I've already went ahead and spun it over. It's got good compression, so I'm gonna finish throwing it back together and see if I can't fire it up. All right, so the Raptor 350 is rebuilt, and here's the startup. So it does sit there and idle, but unfortunately when you give it any throttle, it does shut off. It didn't do that earlier. I would assume that carburetor got a little gunked up from sitting a while. This video of it running is actually happening months later. Just haven't had time to get back out here. So I got to pull that off, clean it, but there it is.